Our brain is arguably the most powerful organ in our body. However, this powerful machine is fucking you up. In this video, I'm going to show you 4 steps on how to unfuck your life. Bear in mind, this can get uncomfortable. Step 1. Know your default action. Our brain is a double-edged sword. It does its best to keep us alive, but it also stops us from being successful. The truth is, our brain hasn't evolved much since millions of years ago. In order to avoid danger, our brain has a set of default actions. Whenever there's a trigger, there's an action without even thinking, since that's the quickest. But that causes problems nowadays. First one, the emotion default. The Godfather is many people's favorite movie partly because of the lesson it contains. Vito Corleone, head of the Corleone crime family, is a master of patience and discipline, but his oldest son Sonny is a hot-headed idiot. He easily goes into rage mode, reacting first and reasoning later. The emotion default controls Sonny, and as many of us know, it causes his life and his father's. The truth is, there's a bit of Sonny in each of us. Emotions can make even the best of us into idiots, driving us away from clear thinking. This is because amygdala, the part that controls emotion, is so much stronger than prefrontal cortex, the part controls reasoning. Second, the ego default. In ancient time, if predators know we are hurt, they will hunt us down. So our brain's default action is to always show a strong self-image, and that's ego. Our ego is so strong that we even value appearing successful over being successful. Just think about how many times you spend on photoshopping your selfie before posting it. All this time you can spend on workout that make you actually look good. We even value feeling right over being right. A study has shown that around 30% of people who cheat are due to lack of love. So they did the wrong thing to feel right. If you have a hard time saying I don't know, or if you frequently feel as though you haven't got the recognition you deserve, be on your guard. Your ego is in charge. Third one, the social default. Humans have always lived in group. Survival inside the tribe was hard, but survival outside the tribe was impossible. Because we needed a group, our individual interests become secondary to the group interest. However, the world we live in today is so much different from the world we evolved from. If you do what everyone else does, you will get the results that everyone else gets. Best practice aren't always the best. By definition, they are average. As the legendary investor Warren Buffett pointed out, the fact that other people agree or disagree with you makes you neither right nor wrong. You will be right if your facts and reasoning are correct. Fourth one, the inertia default. In order to survive, we need to reserve energy. Despite only representing 2% of our body weight, our brain accounts for about 20% of the energy consumption. So the best way to reduce this energy consumption is to not think. That's minimum effort required, and that's inertia. As Newton's first law states, a body in motion tends to stay in motion. A body at rest tend to stay at rest. Inertia keeps us doing the things that don't get us what we want. It operates in our subconscious largely undetected until its effort is too hard to counter. That leads to our step 2. Know your counters. Now that you know how your brain fucks you up, it's time to unfuck your life. It is important to know that there is no immediate fix. For God's sake, it takes millions of years for our brain to evolve. So long as you are building your strengths to better position yourself, don't worry about the result. It will come eventually. Here are the 4 things you should focus on. First, self-accountability. Self-accountability means taking responsibility for your abilities, your inability, and your actions. It means no excuses. Jeff Bezos once said, complaining is not a strategy. You have to work with the world as you find it, not as you would have it be. Listen, maybe that everything happening in your life is not your fault, but everything happening in your life is yours to deal with. If Winston Churchill only complained about how strong Nazi was, would he lead United Kingdom to victory? Exceptional people know that they can't change the hand they've been dealt, and don't waste time wishing for a better one. They focus instead on how they are going to play the hands they have to achieve great results. They don't hide behind others. They rise up to challenge whatever it is. You are not a victim, so focus on the next move, the one that will better your position. Second, self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is about knowing your own strengths and weakness. Charlie Munger said, when you play games where other people have the aptitude and you don't, you are going to lose. You have to figure out where you have an edge and stick to it. It's not the size of the knowledge matter, but how you use it. This is the best way to counter the ego default. Just keep a list of simple questions to ask yourself from time to time. My list look like this. Do I really know this? What's the counterparty's argument? Can I do better than other people on this? Am I confident enough that I will bet all my net worth on it? Eliminate blind spot, so to speak. Third, self-control. Self-control is about putting distance between you and your emotion and realizing that you have the power to determine how you respond to them. A large part of achieving success is having the self-control to do whatever needs to be done regardless of whether you feel like it at the moment. Emotional intensity is far less important in long run than disciplined consistency. Inspiration and excitement may get you going, but persistence and routine are what keeps you going until you reach your goals. Anyone can maintain excitement for a few minutes, but the longer a project takes, the fewer the people can maintain that excitement for it. The most successful people have the self-control to keep going. It's not always exciting, but they still show up. Fourth, self-confidence. Self-confidence is about trusting yourself when facing social pressure, ego, inertia, and etc. It is also about having the strength to accept hard truths. Confidence comes from how you talk to yourself. More dreams die from a lack of confidence than lack of competence. So watch how you talk to yourself. Use encouraging words, motivating sentences. When you have confidence, you naturally focus on what's right instead of who's right. Outcome over ego. Step 3. Build strengths in action. There are 2 ways to build strengths. Both require you to act. First, set high standards. The first step to building any of your strengths is raising the standard to which you hold yourself. A practical matter of looking around at people and practices that pervade your day-to-day environment. Champions don't create standards of excellence. The standards of excellence create champions. Every time before you deliver a piece of work, ask yourself, is this the best I can do? Haier is the largest refrigerator company in China. Its CEO Zhang Renmin came to power when the company was close to failure. To send a clear signal to the new employees, Renmin gathered them outside to witness 76 substandard refrigerators smashed into pieces one by one. Renmin kept the sledgehammer in a glass case in the ballroom for the remainder of his tenure, as a symbol of the high standard he expected from the company. Always keep your sledgehammer ready. Second, exemplars and practice. The phone in your pocket literally gives you access to the smartest people who ever existed, alive or dead. Even if you don't have direct contact with them, you can often listen to them talk in their own words, unfiltered. Think about that for a second. For the first time in history, you have the opportunity to listen to your exemplars explaining things in their own way without anyone getting into the middle. So choose your exemplars and practice imitating them. If, for instance, you are making an investment decision, ask yourself, what would Warren Buffett do? What kinds of factors would he care about? What kinds of factors would he dismiss as irrelevant? If you imagine your exemplars are watching you, you return to do all things you know they want you to do, and avoid the things you know would get in the way. It is important to engage in this thoughtful exercise often. Keep practicing until the pattern becomes second nature, an element of who you are, not who you want to be. Fake it until you make it. Step 4. Manage weakness. Our weakness comes from natural instinct. Although we can't remove them, we can manage them. First, use safeguards. Safeguards are tools to protect yourself from weakness that you don't have the strength to overcome. For example, prevention. If you want a healthier diet, just throw away all the junk food so you don't rely on your mental power, which for sure will deplete one day. Another thing is to replace decision by rules. Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman, the godfather of cognitive bias, once found himself overwhelmed by the meetings he promised to attend, so he set a rule for himself to never accept meeting invite over phone. Ever since then, he only says, "I will have to get back to you." That gives him space to think about it. You can also create frictions for things you want to avoid. For example, my father was once addicted to gambling, so he moved into a town that is 3-hour drive away from casino, never gambled again. Another thing is to have a checklist like the ones pirates have to go through before departing. You can also have one. Before doing anything, go through that checklist. Is it in line with my goal? What I'm trying to achieve here? Questions like this will prevent your brain from going into autopilot. Also, shift your perspective. Put yourself in others' shoes. Ask yourself, What did I miss here? What my coworkers, my partner, my friends will feel about it if I do this? This helps you to catch your blind spots. Second, handle the mistakes. Mistakes are unavoidable. Even the most skilled people make mistakes. However, mistakes present a choice, whether to update your idea or ignore the failure that they produced and keep believing what you always believed. There are 4 steps when handling mistakes. First, accept responsibility. Stop blaming others. Just admit that you fucked up. Second, learn from the mistake. Take time to reflect on your contribution to the mistake. If your focus is still on why did this happen to me, go back to step 1. Step 3, commit to doing better. Formulate a plan for doing better next time. I myself keep a memo about all the mistakes I made so that I will never make them again. Step 4, repair the damage as best you can. A simple apology and action to correct your mistake make a whole world of difference. Remember, the most powerful story in the world is the one you tell yourself. You know you fucked up, so don't act like you didn't. A lot of things we covered today is in a book, Clear Thinking, by Shane Parrish, a former CIA agent, a successful investor, and a wisdom seeker. He has a blog called Farnam Street, dedicating for helping people to think better. I've left the link in the description. There's more in this book about decision making, which is the single most important skill in modern society, also the topic of my next video. You don't want to miss that out. So please subscribe and stay tuned. I'm Unfxxx, my friend.